There are many ways that you can use apps in your library and in your classroom. I'm going to go over a few of them and give you a few examples to really help build up your repertoire of apps for your students to use both in the classroom and out. First, let's talk about content creation. Content creation is what a student expects in the classroom now. Most students expect to create just as much content as they expect to receive. A good app to really help with that is Animoto. As you can see, it's an app used for content creation by using photos, video clips, and audio to help you really form a video that will just capture the student's attention. Here's an example of how it's going to look on your digital device. You choose the style of video that you'd like, you choose the content such as clips and photos, and then you add some music to just really make it interesting for your student. And if this content creation one doesn't work best for you, here are a few more apps that really could. Haiku Deck, I Tell a Story, GarageBand, iMovie, and Prezi, which we're using right now. Storage and collaboration is another big issue in the classroom and in the library. If you're like me and you have tons of stuff to store, but not enough filing cabinet room, Dropbox is really just the perfect thing for you. There is a folder right on your desktop that you can drop anything into, from videos to music to documents. It stores virtually everything. And the best thing about it is if you're working in collaboration with someone else, you can share those files with your friends and coworkers. Now, as you can see, there's a folder right on your computer that you just drop anything into, and it'll save it to the cloud that you can access at any time. If this one doesn't work for you, there are others like Google Drives, Documents to Go, and Box, which are all very similar to Dropbox. There's also Delicious, which helps you bookmark. The next thing I want to talk to you about is content delivery and learning management. Students aren't just interested about what they're learning these days, they're also interested in how they're learning it. Edmodo really helps with this. It's a virtual classroom that helps teachers promote collaboration, let students upload content. It also keeps the discussion alive outside of the classroom. As you can see, it looks a lot like social media, so your students are going to love it. There's a place for all of their groups, there's a place for them to connect with one another, and there's a place for them to connect with you. You can also see that there are assignment tools and quiz tools and polls for your students to utilize at any given time. If that app doesn't work for you, though, there are lots of others that are very similar to it, such as Blackboard Mobile, HotChalk, Schoology, Educreations, and Remind 101. These are all great for content delivery, thinking outside of the box and how you're teaching your students the things that you're teaching them. The next thing I'd like to talk to you about is note-taking, research, planning, and organization. I know that's a lot to talk about in one slide, but the developers of Evernote also developed Sketch, and I think that they really just complement each other very well. Evernote is great for creating lists, whether it's to-do lists or research sources, or if you're working on a group project. It really just helps bring everything together at the touch of your finger. Sketch, however, lets you make annotations on your photos, your web pages, a blank canvas, a document, virtually anything that you really just need to mark up for your own use. Here's an example of what Evernote looks like. It's lists and everything's very organized and very detail-oriented. When you go to Sketch, it's more about you and what you can use all of these tools for. You need to make a map, that's fine. If you need to mark up a document to highlight key points, that's fine too. The only difference between the two is how you use them. Other apps for note-taking, though, are SiteLighter, Digo, Wikipedia, Pocket, and SpringPad. All of these are great for note-taking, but they're also very great for research as well. And then there are other apps for planning, studying, and organizing, such as BrainPop, Flashcards, My Study Life, CliffsNotes, and Quizlet. These apps allow you to create quizzes and learning tools to help your students prepare for that big test or quiz that they have coming up. Next, I'd like to talk about content curation. Even though the technological world is advancing, that doesn't mean that it's still safe for the user. When students get out there looking for content, they're going to come across a lot of things that will overwhelm them. Zeit kind of helps slim that down. The users can search based on their interests in a topic, a specific genre, a certain author, or maybe even a certain type of media that they're interested in, such as newspapers or magazines. As you can see, you click on a topic and you can narrow it down by that topic with each click, making it easier for the user to find the exact results that they're looking for. Other apps that are kind of like this are DigReader, Feedly, Flipboard, and Articles, which also narrow down the material for your students so it's not as overwhelming when they're looking for their content. Next, I'd like to talk about classroom management and student response systems. ClassDojo is the perfect example of this. This app lets the teacher manage the behavior in the classroom by giving instant gratification to their students or giving warnings for their bad behavior as well. As you can see, the class consists of all of your students, and you can choose to give rewards to your students, or you can take points away from them as well. But this is great for a classroom that's lucky enough to have a set of tablets or other mobile devices, because the students can get those notifications instantly when you send them. Some other classroom management tools are Too Noisy, which measures the noise of your classroom, Google Apps in the Classroom, StickPick, Book Retriever, and Socrative. This goes everything from classroom management to classroom library management. So I really suggest taking a few of these apps out on a test drive. Next, let's talk about ebooks and readers. Ebooks have started to take over the classroom, and Fall at Destiny is really going to help us out with not only those ebooks, but just our physical books as well. This app lets you manage your students, your librarians, your teachers, helps them find and share and use all of the materials that your library has available for them. As you can see, sorry for the poor quality, that you can manage the checking out, the checking in, the patron, and the items all on one screen. You can even make notes about any of these items. And if this one doesn't work for you, there are others out there, but here are a few things specifically for ebooks and readers. Audible, Goodreader, iBooks, and Kindle app are all great for either audiobooks or ebooks, or just looking for a way to read an article on your device. Next is social media and social learning, the real heart of the student of today. One that I found that works really well is KidBlog. This app allows both the teachers and the students to post kind of in the same format of a virtual classroom, but also more on a discussion feed as well. As you can see, multiple authors can create multiple posts at different points and on different topics. If you want to give everyone the same topic, that's great, but if you want everyone to kind of post their own thing, that's okay too. And it counts the number of comments that each post receives, so students can keep the discussion alive for days at a time. If this one doesn't work for you, there are things like TED Talks, Pinterest, Khan Academy, Blogger, and Goodreads, all very lively tools that your students are going to know about, but you can use them in the most educational ways possible. The last thing I want to discuss with you about today is reference. When we're sitting at a reference desk, it's very easy to have all of that knowledge at our fingertip with a book, but when you get the digital world involved, it can be very overwhelming for students. So having a few apps available for them to use is key. Dictionary.com is exactly what it sounds like. It's dictionary.com on an app. You can search for spellings, definitions, and synonyms. All you do is look up the word, it gives you all the definitions, the way that you say it, and it also gives some synonyms and antonyms as well. And if they're not looking for a dictionary, maybe Encyclopedia Britannica or a World Fact Book would be more useful for that student. I hope that all these apps have really got you into thinking about what you can use in your classroom to really just pull in the student into this digital world that we're living in.